Hello, students. This week we are learning about two important topics, not the jazziest or most exciting topics in the world, but we're learning about high quality childcare. We're learning from a parent perspective or a guardian perspective and how you go about finding high quality childcare. And then we're going to be learning from a teacher or an administrative perspective how you go about providing high quality childcare. So let's dive right in here. First, we will look for strategies for selecting high quality early learning for your child. So I know none of you have children right now, but sometime in the future, you likely will have children. And a lot of families, I think it's 60 some percent of families, use childcare outside of their home. So I want to give you some information for how to go about finding childcare when you get to that point in your life where you need to find childcare. We're going to start off by just asking the question, what does quality look like? So we're not referring just to childcare right now, but I'm asking if you are buying something, buying some clothing, maybe some electronics like a TV, buying a car, buying something on Amazon, getting food from a restaurant, taking a vacation or a cruise, buying a gym membership, etc., just what would you do or how would you do your research to try to get the highest quality product or service and the most for your money? So think about that question for a minute. Just what would you do to find the best for your money? Some strategies that I thought of include the following. First of all, you might ask friends and family for recommendations. See what people like and go with what you trust from people that you know. You might read online recommendations and reviews to find out what people think about products. You might look for independent star ratings. For example, if you were staying at a hotel, you might look at star ratings to see which hotel is the best hotel with where you're going. You might check it out for yourself. You might go to a store and try on some clothes, see how they feel, see how they look, or go to a restaurant and just see how the food tastes. So that might be your way of finding high quality stuff. You might review the price and find what is a good value for your money. Something I wouldn't recommend, but sometimes we do, is we just take a chance, hoping that we're getting the best thing for our money. What else? What are some other ways that you make sure that you're getting the best for your money? Want to look at a few examples here. So I pulled this up as a vacation rental, a hotel rental. I forget where it is right now, the Grand Myanmar All Luxury Suites and Residences. And this was a 9.4. So a lot of people like this and they made very positive comments. So if I were going to spend my money on a very fancy trip, this is where I might want to go. I pulled this off of Amazon. So we recently learned about manipulatives, and shown here are some manipulatives. These have a really high star rating. So a lot of people that have purchased this have felt very good about it. So I might go with this one because so many other people have given favorable reports on it. I'm very much into cycling, so I pulled this up from a bicycling website. This bike, the Verve Plus 3, has a whole bunch of stars by it. You'll see that it's $3,299.99 as well, so it's a very expensive bike, but it has a lot of good reviews. And just in case you thought that was an expensive bike, I found this one as well, same website, $12,549. So if you want to get something for me, that would be a nice thing to get. So now we're going to look at some strategies for finding quality early care and learning for your child. Again, thinking to the future when you might have a child, or if you're helping somebody else find childcare for their child. Again, first off, we're going to say with ask friends and family for recommendations. When I was a director of a child care center, the vast majority of people came to us because others had said good things about us. So friends and family had given strong recommendations on the quality of program that we offered. Another thing you do is you visit the program. You're going to look at the classroom. You're going to listen to the sounds, listen to the children's laughter, listen to the way teachers talk with children. You're going to ask questions. So things that you're going to find out by actually going to an early learning program and seeing what it's like. You would also want to evaluate the program using quality indicators. And quality indicators, which we're going to learn about shortly, are really a list of things that you would want to look for in early care and education settings. You would also see where the program is in Accelerate Illinois. Similar to how hotels have a star rating, early learning centers in Illinois have a circle rating. So you could see where the program is in Accelerate Illinois. Another thing to do would to be review the program's written materials and handbook. They've probably written a lot about what they do, what their philosophy is, what their approaches are, what their guidance policy is, etc. So you can review these documents to learn more about the program. You can also see if the program is nationally accredited, another topic that we will be covering shortly. You can also check out the program's website and social media just to see what they have put out there to represent themselves in social media. In summary, looking at all these bullets above, what you really want to do when choosing a place for your child to go is to do your homework. There's few decisions that a parent makes that are any more important than choosing early care and learning for their child. So we're going to talk about some quality indicators. So these are key ingredients of high quality early childhood education. First ones that I want to look at focus on the qualifications of the director. The director is similar to the principal that you would have in high school, where they're the person really in charge of what goes on in the school. The director or principal, I like to call the gatekeeper to quality. They're the person that determines what the school is going to be like by determining what comes in and what stays out. For example, they're going to help to determine the curriculum that you're learning about. They're going to help determine the way that people are treated, the value placed upon people. They're going to determine the child guidance policy that you have. So the director is really the gatekeeper to quality. So a question to ask would be, does the director have a bachelor's or an associate's degree in child development or early childhood education? You really want a leader of a program who has good amount of education focusing on early childhood years. Has the director worked in early childhood at least 2 years? I would up this to more years, but the source that I got this from talked about at least 2 years in early childhood education. Another thing, can the director explain what children need to grow and learn? Just as we have in this class been talking about how children learn through various experiences with dramatic play, with manipulatives, etc., we want to make sure that the director can explain what children need to be able to grow and learn in the center that he or she is representing. Next indicators focus on teacher qualifications. Does the teacher have a bachelor's or an associate's degree in early childhood education? Again, a degree focusing on the age which your child is and which they are teaching. Do the teachers seem to really enjoy the children? It's so important that teachers really enjoy teaching and being with the children. So this is something that you would really want to look for when you're doing an observation. Do the teachers get down on child's level to speak with the child? So a key part of respecting children is to speak at their physical level. So you want to see teachers getting down to children's level when they're speaking with them. Are children's needs met quickly even when things get busy? So you want to see responsive teachers that respond to children's needs even when the classroom is very busy. Next set of indicators to look at are the child to staff ratios and the size of the group. So ask yourself or ask the program director how many children are being cared for in the program or in the classroom that you're looking at. Also look to see how many teachers there are for the number of children in the classroom. You could ask, what is the ratio of staff to children? Please note that the younger the child, the more staff are needed to care for the needs of the children. I've shown here a kind of a graph or a table showing recommended ratios. So in a classroom with infants, which is birth through about 15 months, you want a ratio of 1 teacher for every 4 infants with a maximum group size of 8. So ideally, you're going to have 8 children in the classroom with 2 or more teachers. Toddlers, you want 1 teacher for every 6 children with a maximum group size of 12. When you get into the preschool age group, about 2.5 years to 5 years, you want a minimum of a 1 to 10 ratio and a maximum class size of 20. So this is getting to be a pretty big classroom, and I would really look for at least 2 teachers. 3 would really be better than 2. Kindergarten, you're going to look for 1 to 12 with a maximum class size of 24. And then school age, really looking at kindergarten through 3rd grade, you're going to look for a maximum class size of 30 with 2 teachers for that 30 children. So that is just a helpful little chart to give you an idea of what to look for with ratios. Next indicator we're looking at is activities. Is there a balance of playtime, story time, activity time, and nap time? As we're learning in this class, all the different parts of the day are important, so you want to make sure that the children have the time that they need to be learning, to be eating, to be resting. Are the activities right for each age group? This is called developmentally appropriate practice, where we make sure that what we're doing with children is appropriate for their age and stage of development. So make sure that the activities are right for each age group. Do the children have access to a variety of toys and learning materials? As we have learned over and over again, children do learn through play, so we need to make sure that they have the play materials that are going to stimulate their learning and stimulate their thinking. So making sure children have access to the right materials for learning. Can children choose between activities that are loud and quiet, individual and group? When children are in group care for a full day, you want to make sure that there are places where they can be by themselves if they want to be by themselves, just to regain their energy by doing that. Are toys clean, safe, and within the reach of children? All 3 of these things are really important. We want to make sure that the toys are clean, well cared for, not broken. We want to make sure that the toys are safe for the children in the classroom and within the reach of children. It does no good if a classroom has a lot of materials when the materials are stored on a high shelf that's out of the reach of children. So those are some quality indicators surrounding activities. Next indicator we're going to look at is just the setting. Is the atmosphere bright and pleasant? You want the atmosphere to be welcoming. You don't want it to be overwhelming, but you want it to be bright. You want it to feel pleasant, to sound pleasant, be bright and pleasant. Are there different areas in the classroom for resting, for quiet play, and for active play? So you want to make sure that the classrooms that you're observing have all these different areas for children. Oftentimes the entire classroom is used for resting, so you might not see a room dedicated for resting. Just know that cots are going to get scattered about in the classroom when rest time arrives. Is there an outdoor play area with a variety of equipment? So outdoor play is a very important part of the day. It's a very important activity for children of all ages. So you want to make sure that there's an outdoor play area that has a lot of stationary equipment, such as climbers, as well as movable equipment, such as balls and bikes and hoops, soccer goals, that sort of thing. You also want to ask, is the equipment the right size and type for the age of children who use it? So if you're looking for a place for a young toddler, you want to make sure that a climber that they have would be close to the ground, because young children are going to be using this. So we want it to be scaled right for the toddler that's going to be using that. We will be learning a little bit later in this semester about outdoor play and outdoor playgrounds. Next indicator that you want to look for is, what does the program do to keep children safe? Have all the teachers undergone background checks? So first and foremost, you want to make sure that the teachers working with the children have undergone a background check and successfully passed it, showing that they don't have any criminal convictions in their past that would make them not a safe person to work with children. Another thing to ask yourself and perhaps ask the director, have teachers been trained in how to prevent child abuse, how to recognize signs of child abuse, and how to report suspected child abuse? So in Illinois, teachers participate in something called mandated reporter training, where they learn all about child abuse, learn what to look for, and learn what they would do if they ever suspected that a child in their care was being abused. Next, we're going to focus on supervision. Are their children supervised at all times, even when they are sleeping? So a very important part is that teachers can see and hear children at all times to make sure that they are safe. This is even important when children are sleeping. When children are sleeping in a nap room, a teacher should be circulating around the nap room, watching the children, making sure that everybody is okay while they are sleeping. How do the teachers discipline children? When we learned about discipline, we learned that discipline should be positive, it should be clear, it should be consistent and fair. So you want to watch how children are guided or how discipline is used in the classroom. Next indicator focuses on staff training and first aid. We already talked about teacher educational qualifications, but you also want to make sure that teachers have been trained in how to keep children healthy and safe from injury and illness. So a lot of programs really focus on what can we do on the preventative side to keep kids safe from injury and safe from becoming ill in the classroom. You want to make sure that the teachers know how to do first aid, know how to do CPR, know how to do rescue breathing, that kind of thing, just so they are there to help kids be safe and help to respond in the right way if something were to happen to children in their care. You also want to make sure that staff are trained in safe sleeping practices for infants and children. As you know, or as you hopefully know, children need to be put to sleep on their back. They need to be in a crib that doesn't have cushioning, all kinds of animals and things like that. So staff need to be trained on safe sleeping practices. Hand washing and diapering, some more quality indicators that you're going to observe and you're going to ask questions about when you go and check out a program. Do all the children and teachers wash their hands often, especially before eating and after using the bathroom or changing diapers? Hand washing is really the number one thing that we can do to try to keep teachers and children healthy. So we want to make sure that hand washing is done in a proper way at proper times throughout the day. You also want to look at the place where diapers are changed. So if you're enrolling an infant or a toddler or a young preschooler, check out the bathroom, check out the changing area, see if this is sanitary, see if it's cleaned, and see if it is sanitized between when children are changed. You also want to watch during a diaper change. Make sure that teachers always keep a hand on the child while diapering. We just want to make sure that the child doesn't have any risk or opportunity to fall off the changing table. Do teachers clean and sanitize the surface after finishing the changing process? So again, making sure that good practices happen here so we don't have any cross-contamination or have any children getting sick through the diapering process. Some last general indicators that I'd like to focus on. Do you agree with the child guidance practices? So we have done some learning on child guidance practices, and we've learned that child guidance should be positive and help kids learn appropriate behavior. So you want to make sure that you approve with the approach that the teachers take to guiding children's behavior. Do you hear happy sounds of children? You want to hear children laughing, children engaged in play, children engaged in learning. You want to listen to this and see what it sounds like. If you hear a lot of harsh tones of teachers saying, don't do this, stop doing that, then it might be a hint that you should look for another place where you can find children engaged in happy play. Are children comforted when needed? So if a child is sad, does the teacher say, oh, brush it off? Or does the teacher provide comfort when children need it? Is the program licensed or regulated? So in Illinois, most programs are DCFS licensed by the Department of Children and Family Services. There are some programs that are exempt from that, but we want to make sure that whatever kind of program you're going to either has licensing standards that they follow or has another form of regulation that makes sure that they're doing safe and good stuff with young children. Are surprise visits by parents encouraged? I would always want to choose a place where a parent could stop in at any time and just see what's happening. Many centers have an observation booth where a parent can come in, they can watch and see what's happening in the classroom. So I want to make sure that surprise visits are welcomed and encouraged to make sure that the program's not hiding anything that they want to keep away from parents. Do you envision your child being happy there? So when you're a parent someday, you will know your child best. You'll know what helps them to be content, helps them to be happy and feel secure. So you're going to want to think about your child and is this place a good match for your child? So we just reviewed a whole bunch of quality indicators. Now we're going to talk next about whether the program is licensed by the state's licensing agency, which again in Illinois, it's the Department of Children and Family Services. If you land in a different state, all states will have a licensing agency for child care programs. Shown here are the covers of a couple of the books that centers give to parents when they enroll, and they summarize the standards for daycare centers and for daycare homes. So what is DCFS licensing? The main goal of licensing is to keep children safe when they're in group care. Secondary goal is to make sure children are in settings where they can learn and develop. So safety, learning, and development are really the top three goals of licensing. DCFS accomplishes its goals by providing a long set of licensing standards that programs are required by law to meet. So these are not things that you can choose to meet or choose not to meet. It's the law that you meet all of the requirements set forth in the licensing standards. DCFS then conducts announced and unannounced visits to verify compliance with the standards. So DCFS will show up at an early childhood center and they will take a look around. They're going to review files to make sure that all the files in order. They're going to watch and see how teachers are treating children. They're going to do a lot of things to make sure that the place that you are visiting or the place that children go is a safe place. DCFS, being an agency that can enforce rules, has the authority to cite violations, and they can close programs if necessary. So if they find minor things that are wrong, they're going to cite a violation, and the program's going to be required to fix that violation, and then DCFS will come back to verify it has been fixed. If the program is doing something very dangerous or egregious, then DCFS can close the program so it can no longer operate. Another thing that I would encourage everyone to do is to see if the program has a history of DCFS licensing violations. So Illinois is something called the Illinois Sunshine website. It is pictured here, and I believe it is clickable. So this is the DCFS Sunshine website. And on here, you can do a compliance search. So you could type in a provider name, or you could simply type in the zip code where the provider is, and a listing will come up that shows whether that provider has had any violations, and you can read about those violations. So if you see some violations that are pretty bad, you might want to think about going to another program. The next thing to do after licensing is to see where the program is in Accelerate Illinois. So Accelerate Illinois is the fancy name for Illinois' quality rating and improvement system. I want to show you just a little bit about that. As I said, it's Illinois' quality rating and improvement system. All licensed and regulated early childhood programs are included. So child care centers are in Accelerate, preschool, family child care, Head Start, etc. It is one tool that parents and guardians can use to evaluate the quality of various programs. Programs earn what is called a circle of quality. Similar to the stars that hotels might receive, childcare programs receive a circle of quality by demonstrating that they meet or exceed comprehensive quality indicators similar to those that we looked at before. This is a little graphic showing the different circles possible. So there are 4 circles possible. Licensed is the most basic one. It's the foundation of quality, and it's just showing that that program meets DCFS licensing requirements. Bronze circle comes next. So again, they meet licensing requirements, and then some of the staff have engaged in some trainings to help them be good trainings, and they're also engaged in continuous quality improvements. So they're trying to make their program better to try to move up into a higher circle. Silver comes next, and Silver recognizes the program has met many quality goals. So it looks at different areas of learning, and it does that. And then Gold is really the ultimate circle that programs can receive. A Gold shows that they've met the highest quality standards in the learning environment, in teaching quality, administrative standards, training and education, etc. So Gold programs are really the best programs that you can typically find in Illinois. Also shown in this program are some awards of excellence. So gold programs can also get an award of excellence if they do something particularly well at that program. So Accelerate Illinois is really a tool that parents can use to look at and figure out what kind of quality the program is. Here is a video that in class we will be watching on Accelerate Illinois that explains it a little bit better, and a second video also explaining it. We're almost finished with this presentation. There are so many things that I encourage you to do because placing your child in the child care program or early learning program is so important. The next thing you can do is see if the program has received national accreditation. accreditation. So national accreditation is a voluntary system that early care and learning programs may choose to participate in. They're not required to, but they may choose to. Programs measure their quality on a wide variety of quality standards. Programs make improvements to strengthen their quality. So when they look at the different quality standards, they figure out just where they are and where they could do better, and then they take concrete steps to make their program better to strengthen their quality. When a program believes that they meet the accreditation criteria, when they can check everything off on the accreditation list, then they request a visit from the accreditation agency. The agency that has created those criteria then makes an unannounced visit in a visit window to verify that the program meets the agency's quality standards. So the program that I led before coming here was an accredited program, and we were given a 2-week window. We didn't know when they were coming in that window, but we knew that they were going to come sometime in those 2 weeks. When the validator came, they observed in both of our classrooms, they reviewed a whole bunch of documents. They reviewed documents that we'd mailed to the agency beforehand. They did a very close look at our program to determine the level of quality that we provided to the children in our care. After they have done this visit, then they go back and they make some decisions. They make the decision as to whether to grant accreditation. Thankfully, our program earned accreditation each time we applied for it. If you're granted accreditation, you continue to provide the quality that earned you that accreditation, and you continue to make continuous quality improvements to strengthen your practices. Quality is not something that you really arrive at, it's something that you're constantly pursuing and looking for ways that you can do things better each and every day. Accredited programs submit annual reports, and they do have reaccreditation visits every 2 or 3 years where they will go through the same process again of studying their program, making improvements, and having a validator come to make sure that they're continuing to provide quality care for young children. Next, I have here just a few different accrediting agencies. So this one is the National Accreditation Commission. This one is NAEYC, which stands for the National Association for the Education of Young Children. And then the following one is NAFC, which is the National Association of Family Child Care. So these people would go into a family child care home and make sure that they're doing quality things for the children in their care. So, summarizing selecting quality child care, do your homework. Most important thing I can say, visit the program, look, listen, ask questions. Look for quality indicators, the quality indicators that we reviewed here, as well as those that you can find on many websites helping families to choose quality care for their kids. See if the program is licensed and if they have a history of violations. Check to see where the program is in Accelerate Illinois. See if the program has earned national accreditation. Choose wisely. Choosing childcare is one of a parent's most important decisions. So I really encourage anybody choosing childcare to really choose wisely by doing your homework. This week's application assignment, what I'm going to ask students to do is to pretend you're enrolling your future child in an early learning setting. You're going to explore several websites to do your research on what to look for when choosing childcare. You will then write down some things in a Google document of things that you would look for during a visit, as well as questions that you would ask for making this big decision. At this point in our live presentation, we would review some questions and discussion. Thank you for participating in this. As I said at the very beginning, this is part 1 of this week's learning. Part 2 is going to be looking at what centers can do to make sure they're providing quality early care and learning experiences for young children. Thank you.